If you've been following Star Wars games for a while, you already know how quiet and frustrating this side of the industry can be. Star Wars game studios have a long history of big announcements, followed by years of silent studio changes and complete uncertainty. And honestly, nothing represents that frustration better than the Knights of the Old Republic remake saga. When the KOTOR remake was first announced, the hype was massive. Fans were excited, longtime players were emotional, and new audiences were curious. It felt like one of those rare moments where everyone agreed this needed to happen. But then, things went quiet. Updates disappeared, studios changed hands, and at one point, it felt like the project had completely vanished. Eventually, Saber Interactive was confirmed as the studio taking over development, which gave fans a bit of hope again. But even after that, communication stayed minimal. No trailers, no gameplay, no solid updates. Just silence. Now, fast forward to the recent reveal of Fate of the Old Republic, also known as KOTOR. This project is being positioned as the future of the Old Republic era, and naturally, it completely shifted the conversation. Everyone was expecting news about the KOTOR remake, but instead, we got something entirely different. And that's where the reactions started to split. For some people, this announcement was disappointing. For others, it was confusing. And for me, personally, I'm kind of in the middle. I'm not overly excited, but I don't think it's terrible either. Here's the key thing: Fate of the Old Republic is not the KOTOR remake. It's not trying to be. This new project builds on the Old Republic era, but it approaches it in a completely different way. Instead of classic, turn-based, or hybrid RPG mechanics that fans associate with KOTOR is being developed as an action RPG, that alone changes expectations drastically. So if you were hoping for classic KOTOR gameplay with modern visuals, this isn't it. And that's where a lot of the disappointment comes from. People didn't want something inspired by KOTOR. They wanted KOTOR itself, rebuilt for modern platforms. However, here's where I think a lot of people are jumping to conclusions too quickly. Despite the confusion and disappointment, the KOTOR remake is still alive. There has been no official cancellation, no confirmation that the project is dead, and that matters. Lucasfilm Games has been very intentional with how they manage Star Wars eras. They don't randomly stack multiple major projects on top of each other unless there's a long-term plan in place. We've seen this approach across movies, shows, and games. Everything is spaced out carefully, and that's exactly why I believe Fate of the Old Republic actually makes the KOTOR remake more valuable, not less. Think about it this way: KOTOR is clearly designed to reintroduce and re-energize the Old Republic era for a modern audience. It's setting the stage, rebuilding interest, and reminding people why this era matters. Once that foundation is in place, a KOTOR remake suddenly becomes even more impactful. The absence of the KOTOR remake at major events like the Game Awards doesn't mean it's not happening. In fact, it likely means the opposite. It suggests that Lucasfilm Games is intentionally spacing things out. Fate of the Old Republic establishes the future. KOTOR reinforces the foundation. That's a smart strategy. Now, let's talk realistically about timing. This is where I think people need to lower expectations. I don't believe we're seeing the KOTOR remake anytime soon. Personally, I don't expect it before 28 or even 2029. Saber Interactive is clearly busy with Fate of the Old Republic, and if the KOTOR remake is still in development, it's almost certainly on hold or moving very slowly. At this point, everything surrounding it is speculation. No trailers, no gameplay, no release window, just hope. And that's the frustrating part. At the end of the day, fans aren't asking for much. We just want a proper KOTOR remake. That's it. No confusion, no vague announcements, no spiritual successors. Just the game we fell in love with, rebuilt for modern hardware. So now I want to hear from you. Do you think the KOTOR remake is still happening? Are you excited for Fate of the Old Republic, or does it feel like a distraction? And when do you realistically think we'll finally see KOTOR again? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, subscribe for more Star Wars gaming news and updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.